Welcome to our comprehensive exploration of one of the most consequential conflicts of our time, the Russia-Ukraine war, and its far-reaching impact on global politics. This ongoing conflict has not only redefined the geopolitical landscape of Eastern Europe, but it has also sent shockwaves throughout the international community, challenging old alliances and reshaping power dynamics on a global scale. In today's video, we will delve into the origins of this conflict, examine the strategic maneuvers that have unfolded on the battlefield and beyond, and analyze how the war is altering economic, military, and diplomatic relations worldwide. From the realignment of NATO and European security frameworks to the emerging influence of non-Western powers, the repercussions of this war extend well beyond the borders of Russia and Ukraine. As we journey through the intricate web of political, economic, and security challenges brought about by this conflict, we will also consider its long-term implications. Will the war redefine international order for decades to come? What does it mean for global stability, and can the world adapt to these rapid changes? Join us as we unravel the complex narrative of a conflict that continues to shape the destiny of nations and redefine the very nature of global politics. Historical context and the road to conflict. Our journey begins with an exploration of the deep historical roots that set the stage for the Russia-Ukraine conflict. For centuries, Ukraine and Russia shared intertwined destinies, cultural bonds, and periods of political union. From the early days of Kievan Rus through the eras of the Tsardom and the Soviet Union, these ties were both profound and complex. However, the dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 ushered in a new era, one where Ukraine embraced its independence while Russia grappled with its own identity and ambitions. In the post-Soviet years, Ukraine embarked on a path toward establishing a distinct national identity, increasingly aligning with Western democratic ideals and pursuing integration with European institutions. Conversely, Russia viewed these moves as a threat to its traditional sphere of influence. This divergence in visions gradually fanned the flames of tension as disputes over resources, cultural heritage, and strategic interests emerged. A critical turning point occurred in 2014 with the annexation of Crimea, followed by the outbreak of conflict in eastern Ukraine. These events shattered any remaining illusions of peaceful coexistence and set the stage for a full-blown confrontation. Each side, entrenched in its own narrative, deepened the divide that had long been simmering beneath the surface. As we examine these historical developments, it becomes clear that the shared legacy between Russia and Ukraine has transformed into rivalry and hostility over time. The very bonds that once united them now serve as the backdrop for a conflict that has reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe and beyond. Understanding this historical context is crucial, as the legacy of past unity and subsequent discord continues to influence the policies and alliances of nations around the globe. In the segments that follow, we will delve deeper into the events that sparked the current crisis, analyzing the critical moments that escalated tensions into war. By uncovering these layers of history, we gain insight into the profound impact this conflict has on global politics today. Stay with us as we trace the path from shared heritage to present-day confrontation. Strategic maneuvers and diplomatic shifts. As the conflict escalated, the Russia-Ukraine war evolved from a localized confrontation into a complex global crisis marked by rapid strategic and diplomatic shifts. In this phase, both Russia and Ukraine adopted innovative military tactics. Russia initially deployed rapid force, hybrid warfare, and extensive propaganda campaigns to destabilize Ukraine, while Ukraine's resilient defense and timely counterattacks mobilized unprecedented international support. This period saw an explosion of diplomatic activity. Western nations, led by the United States and the European Union, responded with severe economic sanctions, aimed at curtailing Russia's military capabilities and compelling a change in its aggressive posture. At the same time, Ukraine received vital military aid, intelligence sharing, and humanitarian assistance, reflecting a significant realignment in the balance of power. Meanwhile, non-Western powers reassessed their strategic alliances as the conflict unfolded, contributing to an emerging reconfiguration of global geopolitics. These developments have not only intensified the warfare on the ground, but also ignited a fierce diplomatic contest where competing narratives about national sovereignty, regional security, and international law clash head-on. The strategic decisions made during this phase are setting the stage for a redefined international order, one that may influence global politics for decades to come. Economic impact and humanitarian consequences. In this segment, we turn our attention to the profound economic disruptions and humanitarian challenges that have emerged as a direct consequence of the Russia-Ukraine war. The conflict has sent shockwaves through global markets, disrupting supply chains and triggering significant volatility in energy and commodity prices. As international sanctions tighten and countermeasures take effect, Russia's economy is contracting, while countries around the world are forced to adapt to rising energy costs, inflation, and shifting trade patterns. These economic tremors have not only unsettled financial markets, but have also compelled governments to rethink their energy strategies and diversify supply sources to safeguard their national interests. Simultaneously, the humanitarian toll of the conflict is staggering. Millions of people have been displaced, with countless civilians caught in the crossfire of a relentless war. Basic necessities such as food, shelter, and medical care have become scarce commodities, leading to widespread suffering and a surge in refugee movements. International aid organizations are grappling with the immense challenge of delivering urgent relief to those in desperate need. The human cost of the conflict underscores the tragic reality behind geopolitical maneuvers and serves as a call to action for global solidarity. These economic and humanitarian crises are deeply intertwined. The ripple effects of the war are reverberating far beyond the immediate battlefield, influencing global economic policies and igniting debates about the future of international cooperation. As we navigate this complex landscape, it becomes clear that the conflict's impact is reshaping not only the geopolitical balance, but also the very fabric of societies worldwide. In the next segment, we will explore how these disruptions are driving further diplomatic shifts and strategic realignments on the global stage. International responses and shifts in global alliances. In this segment, we explore how the international community has responded to the Russia-Ukraine conflict and how these responses are reshaping global alliances and security frameworks. The outbreak of the war triggered a profound reordering of international relations. Western nations, led by the United States and the European Union, united by imposing unprecedented economic sanctions on Russia and mobilizing extensive diplomatic and military support for Ukraine. At the same time, countries outside the Western Bloc, including emerging powers, are recalibrating their positions, either by distancing themselves cautiously or by seeking new strategic partnerships in response to the rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. This realignment is fostering a new dynamic in global politics, where traditional alliances are under strain and fresh coalitions are emerging. Institutions like NATO have reinforced their commitment to collective defense, while regional security arrangements in Europe are being reassessed and strengthened. Meanwhile, nations across Asia, the Middle East, and Africa are evaluating how the conflict impacts their own security and economic interests, potentially paving the way for a more multipolar world order. These diplomatic and military shifts are not occurring in isolation. They form part of a broader transformation that challenges long-held assumptions about power and influence on the global stage. As global alliances continue to evolve, the Russia-Ukraine war remains a catalyst for rethinking international security and the future of global cooperation. Future implications and global outlook. As we conclude our in-depth exploration, we now turn our gaze toward the future, examining the long-term implications of the Russia-Ukraine war and how it may redefine the global order. This conflict has not only redrawn geopolitical boundaries, but also prompted nations to rethink their security, economic, and diplomatic strategies in an era of rapid change. Looking ahead, the war's enduring effects are set to challenge traditional notions of sovereignty and alliance. On one hand, we may see further militarization and technological advancements in warfare as nations scramble to enhance their defense capabilities. On the other hand, the crisis could catalyze renewed diplomatic efforts aimed at conflict resolution and a reformed international order, emphasizing dialogue and multilateral cooperation over unilateral actions. Economic shifts, too, will likely continue to reshape global markets, driving energy diversification, prompting shifts in trade relationships, and sparking innovation in sustainable policies. Meanwhile, the humanitarian toll and social upheavals remind us that lasting peace will require addressing not just political disputes, but the deep-rooted challenges that affect people's lives. Experts remain divided on whether a comprehensive, peaceful resolution is achievable. While some envision a gradual de-escalation leading to new diplomatic frameworks and a more multipolar world, others warn that the conflict could spiral into prolonged instability. What is clear, however, is that the lessons learned here will influence global policymaking for decades to come. Join us as we continue to monitor these developments and reflect on how a transformed world order might emerge from this conflict, one that redefines power, governance, and the very nature of international cooperation.